Hello, Aries. Welcome to your October connection session. I'm Princess India. If you're new and if you're family, welcome back, my friend, and whatnot, or whatever. So we're going to be looking at the energy between you, okay, as well as your person of interest. And then we're getting into a more specific spread where we're looking at how they think as well as feel about you. The first card out representing you all for the month is the Six of Cuppies. So you're a little nostalgic, Aries. You're thinking about the good times in the past, you know, how things used to be, how you would like them to be again. So in reference to your person of interest, it could be and this is just me assuming, but you guys could be in a bumpy place at present, or just kind of settled into you know, just kind of like a way of being in a partnership, you know what I mean? Like same old, and wishing for a time where things are different. On a more personal level, it could just be you kind of looking around at how things are in your life at present. And I don't know if y'all can see, I'm literally lighting Palo Santo because I'm like, they're probably like, what the hell? Why is she looking down like that? But that's totally me projecting. But anyway, but it very well could be just on a personal level with just the way that things are in your life at present. It's just thinking about a time before when things you know, were happier than they were now, or things were a little more settled, things were a little bit more balanced, a little bit more reciprocal. So more or less you are in the present, Aries, but you're very much thinking about the past. Now with your person of interest, interesting, they're showing up as the World in the reverse. So there is some unfinished business here. And of course, with the World, that's our fixed signs. So that's Taurus, that's Scorpio, that's Aquarius, and that is also Leo. So your person of interest could be one of those signs or a combination of them or what have you. But your person of interest has unfinished business with the past. So whether you guys are together or not, I feel that there's something that happened past tense to where the two of you have not gained clarity or haven't been able to tie up loose ends or close a chapter in reference to something that occurred between the two of you. And Aries, with you guys kind of thinking about that past, I feel if we were to put that on a timeline, the specific part of the past that Aries would be thinking about is prior to whatever this particular thing is that transpired. So, I mean, to give an example of what this could be, it could be like, you know, an argument that the two of you had, like, let's say hypothetically 6 months ago. So 6 months ago, you guys have this horrible argument. I never want to speak to you again, whatever. But then you end up speaking again or running into each other, and you never really discussed the thing that caused you guys to stop speaking in the first place. Your person of interest would still be very much fixated on that. And Aries would be very much fixated on what life was like before this whole, you know, drag down breakup thing happened hypothetically 6 months ago. You feel what I'm saying? So with the two of you, it would be kind of the illusion of forward movement, because what it is that happened between the two of you was more or less swept under the rug. And that's something that I feel would be in the best interest of both of you to address. Because like I said, with you guys, Aries, you're not necessarily present. So it could very much be with this, to be quite honest, child, this became a whole thing. It could very well be that your person of interest is repeating past behaviors in the present, right? So doing things very similar to what it is that was done before. And the reason why Aries is sticking around is because you're remembering this person's representative, right? You're remembering the way that stuff used to be. So you're hanging on to the connection in hopes of this person going back to the way that they were before, or for things to go back to the way that they were before, right? Now, the energy between the two of you, y'all is not happy, okay? That needs to be acknowledged. We have the 10 of Cups and the reverse between the two of you. So there isn't really fulfillment, and I'm going to go with what it is I was saying. So that kind of cuts out a lot of Aries that will be watching this. Legit, the very specific message I'm getting with this is two people who are together that aren't necessarily happy together, right? You can love your person, but the way that things are at this present moment, it's not fulfilling. It is not your end all be all. It's not the ideal of what you wanted. And Aries is really hoping for your person of interest to be who or how they were prior to whatever breakdown occurred in this connection. But with your person of interest, like I say, this unfinished business with them, this looks to me, and I'm going to find out more in their specific spread, but it looks to me that either, like I said, this is something that happened where you guys swept it under the rug and have not acknowledged it, and that's what's leading to the unhappiness in this connection, or your person of interest is still doing the same stuff that caused problems before, and the thing that's keeping Aries here is the hope that this person goes back, or the relationship goes back to the way that it was before. Now, getting into our more specific spread, our first card and their fleeting thoughts. Interesting. We have the Fool in the reverse. Okay. Then we have the Justice in the reverse. Child. Then we have, the 10 of Wands. And then in their conscious thoughts, okay, well, they love you. We have the 2 of Cuppies. So here is the thing. In reference to the thoughts that your person of interest is weighing, there's a delay to the new beginning. You know what I mean? And again, that points back to what I was saying with this 10 of Cups in the reverse between the two of you and the World in the reverse that's representing your person of interest. It's like with this Fool reverse, it's like a false start in so many words. So I really believe these are two people who were not together, who have reconciled in some way, shape, form, or fashion. And honestly, your person's perception of you in reference to this Aries is, did you really think this through? You know what I mean? So if your person of interest came back and said, like, let's try to work this out. Like, did you really think about it? Or did you just kind of jump on it in so many words? You know what I mean? And if I kind of pull this back to, because I don't know why that's like pronouncing itself to me. This is how they're looking at you, but I'm being distracted by the energy that I'm picking up with them. So with this Fool in the reverse and the Justice in the reverse, I'm picking up on a very similar energy to what I was saying. Secondly, in this World in the reverse is the repeating of the past behavior. Because with this Fool in the reverse, it's like recklessness. You know what I'm saying? Not really having a plan. So kind of how it is they're viewing you, but really this being about them is like jumping in head first, not really having a plan. Like, I really, really miss Aries, want to be back with Aries, gonna say whatever it is I need to say to, and this is very much reminding me of Pisces that I did before, you guys. Do whatever it is that I need to do, say whatever it is I need to say to get back into their good graces, but I don't necessarily have a plan on how I'm going to execute that. And then with this Justice in the reverse, it's like we're still on the same bullshit. You know what I mean? And okay, well, that makes sense. So why that would come up is more or less it's them wondering if you're seeing them that way. So it's like, did you really think this through, Aries? Or did you jump in and your person more or less wondering like that about themselves in reference to you? Like, are you seeing this as, I don't really think they had a plan. I don't really think that they're sorry. I don't know if they really changed. You know what I mean? And then with this 10 of Wands here for the person, it's like it's cumbersome for them. So it's almost like I'm gonna say it like this because I said a whole bunch of stuff and that probably totally confused you. It's like they see this, but it's you, but then them, but then this. So I'll use a scenario to make this kind of make more sense. If there was a chief complaint that Aries had about the person of interest, right? And this is what led to you guys going your separate ways, right? The person of interest is coming back into this connection knowing that this is your chief complaint about them, right? They really care about you and want to be with you, but they don't necessarily have the skills, tools, or resources to stop themselves from being this way. So let's give it something tangible and say your person of interest is horrible with money, right? Aries broke up with them because they're bad with money. However long you guys were apart, they did not suddenly magically become good with managing finances. They're still terrible at managing finances. However, they know in order for Aries to take me back, I need to manage my finances better. So they have a very superficial plan of, I'm going to pay my rent on time this month. I'm going to pay my light bill on time this month. I'm going to pay my car note on time this month. I'm going to get the invoices from this and I'm going to show Aries, right? Do they have a long-term plan on how they're going to continue to pay their bills on time for the next 6 months to a year? No, absolutely not. They've just done it for the last 2-3 months because they needed to show a pattern of change in order for Aries to give them another chance. You feel what I'm saying? So the thought is almost on their behalf, and this is just stuff they're weighing of, does Aries know this? You know what I mean? Because in their mind, I feel they're kind of, trying to get it together behind the scenes or keep up the facade. You know what I mean? But it's the thought of, do you believe that I've changed? Do you believe that I'm different? Do you believe that I'm good with money now? And with this 10 of Wands, that's very cumbersome for them, because that's saying to me that they're acting outside of themselves. So it's, and I know this is a crazy example to say that, but I mean, hey, some people are like that. It's more or less they're bad with money and it's cool with them that they're bad with money. And mind you, I'm saying this hypothetically because bad with money could mean anything to anyone. I mean, it could be like, being faithful, you know what I'm saying? Or cursing at people. I don't know, whatever, you know what I'm saying? But whatever the case, this person has practiced this bad behavior for so long. It's very much a thing for them. And especially if this has not been a full 3 months yet. And I'm saying, like, with you guys getting back together, like if you guys have not been back together for like a solid 90 days, 3-month period, I feel that the cracks in this veneer that's being shown is going to start to show eventually, because that's just normal with all of us. It's like we can only keep up a charade for so long. You know what I mean? Even if it's behavior that we really want to change, that's why people, get all beefed up about going to the gym at the, top of the year. And by March, people start falling off. It's like all these gym memberships and people start falling off by March. That's your 3-month mark. You know what I mean? Where people don't stay consistent with it. So I say that to say, with your person of interest, them trying to maintain this status quo, right, for the benefit of the two of you being together, it's overwhelming for them. However, they really do care about you. They really do care about you. They really do want to connect with you. They really do want you guys to come to a good, balanced place. You know what I mean? But I can say, just from my perspective, this isn't necessarily the way to do it. The best way to do it would be actually confronting the problem and coming up with a real solution. Because like I said, at that 3-month mark, you guys very well can end up in the same place that you were in the first place that caused you to go your separate ways in the beginning, or whatever it is that you guys were arguing about. Because unfortunately, as much as I wish this was true, love is not the end all cure all in relationships. I think a lot of times that's kind of how your person is seeing it, is like, Aries loves me and they should love me so much and connect with me so much that they should like understand that I'm this way, or that, I may fall back into bad behaviors, or I don't necessarily think things through and I make less than stellar decisions. And a lot of consequences come from my actions, but I can't help myself. You know what I mean? They should just love me and understand that, that's the way that I am. So I really feel where this 10 of Cups is coming from is, again, Aries, you guys hoping for this time of how stuff was in the beginning. But my assumption is the way this stuff was in the beginning, it wasn't real. You know what I'm saying? Because, not saying that this person didn't love or care about you or anything. It's just the fact that it's idyllic in the beginning. It's like before you know all the ugly of a person, their faults, flaws, and quirks and all the things, it's very easy to idealize someone and feel like someone is perfect. But when it comes to like, the challenges in a relationship is just not always going to be like that. So that's why it's like, we choose to love people past that point for their flaws and all or whatever. But with your person of interest, I feel with them, they by nature are a habitual line stepper, a habitual rule breaker, a habitual boundary crosser. And they're holding that at bay at present because they're excited for the two of you to come back together. But it's like the gist I kind of get this is Aries, you're back with the person, but you're still, you know what I mean? It's a little bit of illusionary. It's like you're back here, you're physically here, but your mind is back there, and you're here because you want to go back there, if that's making sense. So the unhappiness that Aries has is in the present. So almost like, I don't want you to be who you are now. I want you to be that person. And I'm closing my eyes and, holding on for dear life until I see that person again. And then your person of interest unhappiness comes in the fact of almost them knowing, I can't keep this up for too long. I'm going to end up falling off the bandwagon and being late on a bill. I haven't done my sports betting in a while. I don't know, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it's just kind of hoping that, you love me, so you'll look past this type of thing, because me keeping all of this up is too much. You know what I'm saying? Now, their subconscious impression, we have the Two of Coins. That's so interesting. So with your person, I mean, they're not like a devil or nothing. They're not horrible. It's like at the end of the day, like, I don't know, this is fascinating. They want a level of balance, you know what I'm saying, in the connection. But how do I want to say this? Now, I feel like that's judgmental for me to say that. I feel like I need to choose my words carefully, because what I want to say is very much a judgment, a biased one. All I can ask is for my people who are watching to, throw me a bone and help a sister out, be a little understanding. Now, what I want to say is, if the person of interest is a feminine energy, right? Then it wouldn't be, a problem, right? Because the vibe I'm kind of getting with this, it's a very feminine energy of like wanting to be taken care of, kind of, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like say, okay, Aries, and let's say Aries is, a masculine energy, right? And the problem in the connection was the masculine energy wanted the feminine energy to hold down like a full-time job and be super ambitious in their career, like, Aries is, right? So the person of interest likes Aries so much that they kind of fake the funk and pretend to be like super career driven. I want to be an entrepreneur and like own so many businesses. Like, oh my gosh, like num 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 num, like compulsive overworking. Love it. You know what I mean? Sleep when I'm dead, right? So they're kind of feigning that kind of persona. But as time starts to pass, Aries starts to see this person isn't as driven. You know what I mean? They're not as like, just goal oriented, assertive, doing the thing or whatever, like boss life, whatever, hustle mentality, whatever. You start to see that. Now, that's the true energy of this person coming forth. With this Two of Pentacles, the vibe I'm getting from this is this person's inherent true nature is holding space, right? It's them being like an anchoring point, like a balancing agent. But how it's presenting itself to me is very much a feminine. So if you would think about, like, that's why I say with this being a feminine energy and like hypothetically Aries is the masculine energy. If you think about a feminine energy that wants to be like a stay-at-home mom, right? Go to soccer games and like cook dinner, That's the perception of how I anchor and thus balance things out. It's more or less, I'm seeing this two of coins, like their inherent core archetype, their inherent core energy signature would be the equivalent of a balloon weight to a balloon, right? So Aries is the balloon. Without the balloon weight, you're just floating everywhere. With this person being stationary in their role, right? They're holding space and thus being that anchor point, thus balloon weight to this balloon, right? So Aries gets to be what they are, super dope, big, bright, big, bright red balloon that people get to enjoy. And this person's role is being the weight. Like, I hold you down in a sense, right? Now, why? Like I say, that's judgmental because, of course, everybody plays different roles. You know what I'm saying? This is speaking from the perspective of it being like traditional roles. So where I say this would be kind of different is if Aries is a female, right? And Aries person of interest is a male, right? And Aries is a female operating in her feminine. And then Aries person of interest is a male also operating in his feminine. That would be the root of the conflict, right? Because Aries would be the one who desires, right? Like, your subconscious drive is to be said balloon weight, to be taken care of, to be provided for. You feel what I'm saying? And you can't have, two of the same thing. You feel what I'm saying? And that's more or less like in a physics energetic sense. You know what I mean? Like, if you think about like extension cords, like if you have two of the prong plugs, like you can't put both of those together. Like, you need the receiver for the other side in order for power to generate. You feel what I'm saying? So it's almost like both of you being receivers. And that's why things aren't working. That's why things aren't clicking. Because the same role that Aries wants to be in is the same role that your person of interest also wants to be in. And that's what's causing conflict. So I feel like with this person having this kind of facade, it's like, I'm doing this because I know Aries wants me to do it, but this isn't really who I am. You know what I'm saying? And there has to be a sense of reconciliation with that. You know what I mean? And with the projection side, of this two of coins for them to you is almost a sense of like, you should understand this, like you should know this, like you should know me, like this is the solution to our problems. Like, how are you not recognizing that I'm the receiver? You know what I mean? Like, why are you asking me to be something or someone or operate in a way that is foreign to me? You know what? Like, didn't you not know who or how I was? That's kind of the vibe of the fact that there's and child, it's them seeing you, and I'll go back to my terms. It's their perception of you as you are the provider and protector, if I could say it that way. So it's a confusion of like, why are you not providing for and protecting me? Like, that I'm someone to be protected and provided for. You're a protector and provider. Why aren't you doing that? You know what I'm like? That's the vibe that I'm getting with this, which is very interesting. Very interesting. So I hope and pray that I don't want to offend anyone with that, because this is just what I'm picking up. You feel what I'm saying? Not saying that this is the way that things are, supposed to be, but that's just the energy I'm picking up. Now, their feelings towards you is the 8 of Cuppies. So here's the thing. So your person of interest, their feelings, and I really, this is a fear for them, is that you could potentially leave them again, because this is really coming from a place of them not feeling enough. So here's the thing. This is really conflicting. And I mean, not like conflicting, like confusing. It's conflicting because, Aries, it's almost like this would be a stunning realization for a person. I will say it that way. And going back again to my example, if Aries is a feminine female, this would be a stunning realization to accept, right? Because with your person, it's a fear of you walking away from them. Of course, with the Eight of Cups, I don't see it as like forever, because the Eight of Cups for me is always a wraparound effect. It's like, oh, this no longer serves me, and I'm walking away. But again, it's like with this unfinished business that I'm seeing in you guys overall on both sides, it's like the lesson not being learned. If we're living in the past, Aries, and thinking about how things used to be, we're not looking at the transition that got it to where it is that we are now, like how it descended to this point. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's kind of the reality check that needs to happen, is like looking at who is it that you're really in a relationship with. We know who they were in the beginning. We know what it is that, they promised or said that they were in the beginning, but who it is that you're with now, right? Because it's almost like your person of interest feels that even if you were to walk away, and they do like kind of fear in a sense that you'll get sick of them and walk away again, that there's the potential for that if they don't keep up this facade. So it's pressure they're putting themselves under. It's like, I need to pretend to be something that I'm not in order for Aries to stay. The second that they find out, which is why this fear would be in their fleeting thoughts, the moment that they find out they're gonna walk away from me, but it's still this feeling of like they'll be back though. So I mean, for some of y'all might be married, y'all might be married, and maybe one of you guys potentially either threatened to divorce, or may have gone as far as filing, or maybe you guys got legally separated type of vibe. And I'm saying that with this justice in the reverse. You know what I mean? And it's either, and I could say this two ways too, where if you guys still are separated, it's this person of interest feeling like you'll come back, and why they're keeping up this facade. So if y'all are doing that whole we're separated, but we're trying to work it out type of thing, and them keeping this facade during this time of you guys trying to reconcile, you know what I mean? And their hope is that you're gonna come back because what they're showing you. But whatever the case, whether you guys are already back together or you're working out getting back together, your person of interest is feeling the weight of how hard this is. And the reason for that is because this goes so far against who and how they are. You know what I mean? But I really feel like the true solution for your person of interest, which is neither here nor there, because they're not watching me, you are. This is more on the development side. It's like with this two of coins, like the energy I'm picking up, that conflicting energy could be reconciled dialectically. You know what I'm saying? This person can be a masculine that is in tune with their feminine, you know what I'm saying? And balancing that out to where they're very much in tune with their inner world and emotions, and, let those things drive them, sit in that energy, would have you, but still, act in the external world in a masculine sense. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, that's ideal because that's a balanced human being, right? So it's like the person could do that, but like I said, that's neither here nor there, because they're not listening to me, you are. But whatever the case, the only concern I have with this, Aries, is much like I said in the beginning, I don't see this person, I don't see them changing. And I mean, not saying that they can't, it's just that this is how this person is. You know what I mean? Because I mean, that's literally a thing. I've had this conversation before in other readings. Like, there's literally, men who operate out of their feminine, and men who operate out of their feminine, that doesn't make them less of a man. It's just that their approach is different. They are better suited to be stay-at-home dads. You know what I'm saying? Work from home, take care of the kids, and being more focused on the nurturing of the family as opposed to the provisions for the family. You know what I'm saying? And I feel if Aries continues to focus on what was instead of what is, it's still kind of missing the mark on seeing the truth of how this person really is. And I feel that there's a need to see that, to give you guys a chance to move forward on a leveled playing field. Because if that's not acknowledged, you're going to keep repeating the same cycle over and over again. Because like I said, this Two of Cups here, and I mean, even with you guys being in the Six of Cups, I believe that the two of you really love each other. You know what I'm saying? But I feel that the two of you are really seeing each other and really knowing each other, really accepting each other, the truth of who you are? No, because this person is feeling pressure to be whatever it is that they think you're looking for, but not thinking long term that they can't keep this up. You feel what I'm saying? And with this feelings, like I said, the Eight of Cups, it's almost like the two of you can continue to go around the mulberry bush, because whatever's being swept under the rug isn't being acknowledged and is not being confronted. And that's something that needs to happen. It's recognizing, like I said, you're two of the receiving ends. I don't know what the proper word for that is, but you're two of the receiving ends of an extension cord, right? So it's like something has to switch. You know what I'm saying? Something has to change in order for the two of you to plug into each other, because otherwise you guys are just going to keep doing the same old thing. And your person of interest feels that. But to them, it doesn't matter, because it's like they still want you around. So if they have to fake the funk, they're going to keep faking the funk as long as they possibly can, you know, until it all comes crumbling down, and then try again. You know what I mean? Because it's like they don't know how, it's almost like they don't know how else to relate. I don't know how else to be other than showing up and being whatever it is that Aries expects from me. You know what I'm saying? And then that begs the question for me of like, does Aries know what they really want? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you think about how things were, what is it about how things were that you're really wanting? Like, what about that? You know what I'm saying? I hope and pray that that makes sense, Aries. This is interesting. Y'all have to let me know in the comments. I hope and pray that this makes sense. But I'm going to throw the dice of resonance. Go ahead and ask a yes or no question. Your person of interest got a lot of low self-esteem going on too. That's a lot going on. Anyway, so we have male, we have Leo, we have cusp, and we have Pisces. Didn't I say that this reminded me of Pisces? If you or your person of interest, whatever, have that in your chart, definitely check that out, because this sounds like it's the very similar energy signature that came up in Pisces. So we have Leo cusp or Pisces cusp. Don't ask me what signs are on the side of these. What is it? Leo, Cancer, Leo cusp, and a Leo, I don't know, child. Whatever the cusp is of Leo and Pisces. So they could be either one of those. Then we have male, we have anyone. So the person could be anyone. And the answer to your question is hell no. Hell no to the no, no, no. Hell no to the no. So cusp, Leo, Pisces, male, anyone, and hell no. So my wonderful Aries, that has been your connection session for October. Let me know what you think in the comments. And as always, I love your freaking face, and I will see you guys sooner than later.